I woke up slowly, like someone surfacing through thick water. The first thing I noticed was the sound. Machines. A steady beeping somewhere near my head, air moving through a vent above me. The quiet was clinical, but it didn't feel calm. It felt empty. My eyes moved around the hospital room. One chair, a plastic cup of water, curtains pulled halfway open, no one else. For a moment I thought maybe they had just stepped out. My parents hated hospitals. My mother always said the smell made her nauseous. I waited. Nothing changed. When I tried to sit up, my body reminded me I'd been gone for a while. My muscles felt like someone had replaced them with wet rope. My arm trembled just reaching for the bedside table. That's when I saw the paper. It was folded once, placed neatly beside the water cup. My mother always folded notes like that. Precise. Creased carefully. My chest tightened before I even opened it. Inside were 8 words. "We're not paying anymore. Good luck." No explanation, no name. But I recognized the handwriting immediately. My mother had always written like she was filling out forms for a bank. I stared at the words for a long time. The machines kept beeping, steady and indifferent. At first I thought it was a joke. Something cruel, maybe, but temporary. Maybe they were angry about something. Maybe insurance was involved. Maybe. But the longer I sat there, the heavier the room felt. Eventually a nurse came in. She froze for a second when she saw me awake. "Oh," she said quietly. "You're up." She checked the monitors, wrote something down, avoided looking at the paper in my hand. "Where are my parents?" I asked. A small pause. "They were here earlier this week." "Earlier this week." I swallowed. "They left that?" I asked, holding up the note. Her eyes flicked toward it, then away. "You should rest," she said gently. That was the moment I understood. People in hospitals get careful when something is wrong. Over the next few hours, fragments slipped through conversations. Insurance had been canceled. Billing had questions. Administration had visited the floor twice. My parents had signed some kind of financial withdrawal form. No one said it directly, but the message was obvious. They had walked away. By evening I felt smaller than I ever had in my life. Not angry yet. Just hollow. The accident came back to me slowly, headlights, rain, the sound of metal folding. Weeks gone. And apparently that was enough time for my parents to decide I wasn't worth the cost. I was staring at the ceiling when the door opened again. 2 men walked in. The first one I recognized immediately. Daniel Morris. My lawyer, except I'd never hired a lawyer in my life. He was in his 50s, gray hair, careful posture, the kind of man who moved like every step had already been planned. Behind him stood a tall man in a dark suit I didn't recognize. Quiet, observant. Daniel closed the door gently. "You're awake," he said. His voice sounded almost relieved. I struggled to push myself up a little. "I think you have the wrong room," I said weakly. Daniel shook his head. "No. This is exactly the right room." He glanced at the note still in my hand, his mouth tightened slightly. "Your mother," he said slowly, "made a serious mistake." The other man remained silent, standing near the wall like he belonged in a courtroom instead of a hospital. I frowned. "Who exactly are you?" Daniel pulled a chair beside the bed and sat down. "For now," he said, "I'm the person responsible for fixing a problem your parents just created." I stared at him. "I don't have money," I said. "If this is about bills—" "It isn't," he interrupted calmly. He placed a thin folder on the bed. Inside were documents, old ones, yellowed slightly at the edges. "You had an uncle?" he said. I blinked. "I know that," I said. "He lived overseas." "I met him twice," Daniel nodded. "He also established a trust 15 years ago." The word trust sounded unreal. "For me?" I asked.
Yes!
My mind struggled to keep up. "Then why are my parents?" "Because they were appointed administrators," Daniel said. He spoke the words carefully, like they mattered. They were responsible for managing it until certain conditions were met. My throat felt dry. "And now," Daniel leaned back slightly. "Your parents submitted legal documents to withdraw financial responsibility for your care. That's what the note means," I said quietly. Yes. He folded his hands. In doing so, they violated the trust's administrative obligations. The man in the suit stepped forward for the first time. His voice was calm, official. I represent the firm that oversees the trust's enforcement. The room felt very still. Daniel continued. The moment they abandoned that responsibility in writing, their control ended. I looked between them. You're saying, the assets transfer directly to you, Daniel said. The words hung in the air. The machines kept beeping. Effective immediately. For a long time, no one spoke. I looked down at the note again. The paper didn't look powerful anymore, just small. Cruel, but small. Daniel stood. The hospital has already been notified, he said. They'll restore your coverage within the hour. The man in the suit nodded once and left the room. Daniel paused at the door. I'm sorry, he said quietly. Not about the money. About everything else. When he left, the room returned to silence. I sat there for a long time, the note still in my hand. It didn't hurt less. But it felt different. Like something final had happened. Outside the window, the sun was setting behind the hospital buildings. And for the first time since I woke up, the room didn't feel like somewhere I'd been abandoned. It felt like the place where my life had quietly stopped belonging to them.